So in the 2026 Super Bowl, we saw what was probably one of the most boring Super Bowls. And now that the 2025 season has come to an end, I think it's time that we go back and see what quarterbacks really stood out and who was not that good. So let's get into it. So we have all 32 quarterbacks who have the highest contract. Now, the thing is, this is kind of outdated. Like Russell Wilson's here. Um, Michael Penix is here. He's injured. It should be Kirk Cousins. But we're just going off who was the starter for the majority of the time, for sakes. So our first quarterback we have is Jordan Love. So not bad, not a bad season, I'd say. However, that defense was pretty good. I'd say. I think he would be maybe solid. I need to really see a great season, but then again, he doesn't really have a lot of offensive weapons. He has Tucker Craft, but he hasn't really had a real wide receiver one. They drafted Matthew Golden in the first round last season. However, he didn't really do anything much, and yeah, think really need to see him just have a season where he becomes a top 5 QB and not top 10, top 12. So put him in the solid category. Next up, we have Caleb Williams. So breakout year. He led them all the way to divisional. That was a really good setup from Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson really helped his team get over the hump, and I wouldn't say he's elite just yet, but he is definitely great. He is definitely in the borderline top 5, easily top 10. He is definitely one of the best quarterbacks, and everyone was calling him a draft bust. Even I was thinking it at a point because he just wasn't that good, but he has proved himself to be elite. Next up, we have Jared Goff. So Jared Goff, not necessarily a down year for him statistically, but I would say it was a down year for the Lions. Obviously, they lost both their offensive and defensive coordinator, so it was pretty hard for this Lions team to get going. They lost a lot of games, missed a lot of opportunities, and yeah, definitely not saying it's the end for Jared Goff though. He still is what 30 years old, still has some time, and I think the Lions can get it done. I think they can get a Super Bowl in the next 2 to 3 years. All right, next up, Jalen Hurts. So I'm not a Jalen Hurts supporter. I kind of don't like this guy's. Um, the reason I don't really like him, well, people calling him a top 5 quarterback, and that's probably just maybe Eagles fans. I would say he's solid. And then again, he's a rushing quarterback, so he takes off with the ball a lot, and he barely cracked 3,000 yards. So, um, people are saying what, especially Eagles fans, they're always like, "Oh, Jalen Hurts is this, Jalen Hurts is that." He always runs with the ball, but he's still top 5 because he's able to win. Sure, he can win, but obviously sometimes he's not really smart. Then again, he's had a bunch of offensive coordinators. He had Kevin Patullo, who was dog shit. So I'd say I put him in solid. He's a solid quarterback. He's pretty serviceable. Still pretty decent. However, I need to see him do something like really good. Next up, Jaden Daniels. Um, yeah, he was injured all year. Um, I put him at solid because we can't really tell. He barely played anyways. So, you know, I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. It's probably just the sophomore slump that every quarterback has. Okay, next up, Dak Prescott. Okay, Dak Prescott had a good year. He, I think, was an MVP candidate for about the first half of the season. Fell off a little bit, but the only reason he didn't make the playoffs was because of that defense. That defense was horrendous. But he can get it done. I still think he can get it done, despite him being, what is it, a quarterback that throws a little too many interceptions this year. He only threw 10 interceptions, so that's not too bad. So I'm going to put him at great. He's still a top quarterback. He just needs the right team around him, and he can get it done. So next up we have is Russell Wilson. I'm a Rams fan, and I should hate this guy, but I kind of feel bad for him. He definitely isn't as good as he used to be, but then again, I kind of feel bad for him. I think the Giants fans were booing him because he wasn't winning games. And then again, I'd say he's a serviceable quarterback. Definitely not a starter anymore. So I'd put him at the could be better category. All right, then we got Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield was an MVP candidate, then he completely fell off. Then again, still think he's one of the top 10 QBs. However, was a bit of shakier. Then again, the whole Bucks team was injured, so have to give note to him for that. All right. Next up, Bryce Young. So they barely made the playoffs, and then again, he was pretty good despite the shaky team he had. I'm not gonna put him in the good category yet because I just don't think he's there. He definitely has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm really hoping that he can thrive with Dave Canales and the rest of the Panthers team. So yeah. Next up, Michael Penix. Okay. This was a weird pick at first, and I still think it was weird because they got Kirk Cousins. Um, it's not looking great for the Falcons. He's not performing at a good level like they expected. I'm going to have to put him in the could be better category. I think that's where he belongs. Still unproven despite him playing maybe like 4 games last season and then playing 1/3 of a season this year. So he still has time to prove himself. Okay, so Spencer Rattler, I'm gonna put him in bad. Tyler Shuck, I think, took over mid-season. Tyler Shuck was really good looking. He is definitely gonna keep the starting job. Now for Spencer Rattler, he's pretty bad. I mean, he was a 4th round pick. He wasn't great in college either. He was okay. So yeah. Okay, next up, Matt Stafford. Okay, so he won MVP. He cooked and he won the hard debate with Drake May as the MVP battle. Now, I will say he's not a runner, but then again, this guy is he just had a phenomenal season. I think he deserved it. I think he could have won one if he had the right team. He could have been a Hall of Fame quarterback, which, I mean, he still is. However, I mean, stuck on Detroit, like, he couldn't really do anything. But then again, right now, he's the best quarterback in the league. He's the best quarterback in the league. All right, Kyler Murray. Okay. He's probably not going to be a Cardinal next season. I don't think so. He's probably going to get traded in the off season. He just did bad. I think Jacoby Brissett could be the starter next season. He did much better. So I think it's going to have to be Kyler Murray in the bad. Sam Darnold. Okay. Sam Darnold, even though he's a Seahawks fan, or even though he's a Seahawk, and I'm not a Seahawks fan, and I'm kind of hate the Seahawks, he had a great season. He proved himself to be a top quarterback, and he won when it mattered most. He really changed himself from the days in the Jets, where it was pretty rough. It was really rough for him. I thought he was probably one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. But now, I mean, he won the bowl, so gotta give credit to him. All right, so we have Mac Jones. Now, I don't know why Brock Purdy isn't here, but Mac Jones I'm gonna put him in the good. He really did good for a short span, and I know he didn't play a full season, and your guys are gonna be like, oh no, Jordan Love's better. Oh no, Bryce Young did better. However, I think in that span Mac Jones played, he was really outstanding. I mean, he beat the Rams, who are a Super Bowl contender, and yeah, I mean that still kind of hurts, that loss. I think we just weren't as good. And yeah, he did pretty good in that short span of time. Next up, we have Lamar. Okay, now this season, Lamar was injured and he wasn't as good. However, overall, he's still a great quarterback, and I'm still going to put him in the elite because overall, he's been doing great. He has just been cooking every season. He has 2 MVPs already under his belt. And yes, I know he might have been injured. However, actually, I'll put him in the great because he was injured for most of the time. Okay, next up, Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow got injured again. He just can't stop getting injured. However, he's still a good quarterback when he's available. So I don't really have much to say. He's just good, I guess. Um, Joe Flacco. So he actually got traded later. I think he's technically the Browns starter. However, um, I guess this season not bad. I mean, I think he and Joe Burrow both made the Pro Bowl because the AFC's quarterbacks just all got injured or just completely sucked this season. He's solid. He's like a very old quarterback, but he can still throw it. He might not be able to run anymore, but he's a pocket passer. He can do it. So I'll put him at solid. Aaron Rodgers. Good comeback season for him after that rough season in what is it? In New York. I say same thing with him, solid. He's definitely an all-time great. I don't think he will be coming back. I think he's probably going to retire after this season because this was like a farewell tour. And yeah, they obviously being the Steelers get first rounded every year, so that's what that happened. So next up, there's Tua. Do I have to say anything else? I mean, it's Tua. Probably one of the worst picks I've ever seen, considering that the Dolphins could have gotten Joe Burrow. But then again, he went first overall, so they could have done better with that. Okay, next up, JJ McCarthy. Same thing here. He just completely sucks. I know he's young, but Tua confirmed he's bad. JJ McCarthy has time, but it's not looking really bright for him. And the even worse part, JJ McCarthy has the best wide receiver duo of both Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. He should be doing good, but he didn't. And yeah, it's not looking great in Minnesota. Next up, Josh Allen. Okay, this season was pretty rough, but he carried the Bills. Sorry, right there. He carried the Bills. He did great. Definitely not his best season. However, he's still one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Can't argue with that. Next up, there's Drake May. Okay, so him and Stafford, they went toe to toe with this MVP award, and I'm pretty sure that Stafford deserved it more. And yes, he had the schedule, and all the Patriots fans are going to be like, oh, but he outperformed Stafford. Oh, but he did better because he won more games and he went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, but he faced reality when he went against the Seahawks, and he did terrible. Then again, his offensive line was also bad, but individually, he did pretty bad. Then again, I'm gonna put him in the elite category just by stat wise. Maybe I'll put him in the great. I think I might put him in the great because I need to see maybe another year similar to this because next season he's gonna have a real schedule with actually good teams. So we'll actually see how he does against more physical, more harder teams, and we'll see if he can really stand up to that pressure. Okay. Then again, I don't know how he made the Pro Bowl. He's probably one of the most what if type quarterbacks I've ever seen. What if this happened? What if he stayed in Chicago? What if, he stayed with Pittsburgh? I think the Steelers should have kept him. I don't know why they let him walk. So yeah. Then Trevor Lawrence, he's great. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. He had a comeback season from that poor, I think 4-13 season last year. So, great to see him finally living up to the expectation. Next up, we got CJ Stroud. Yeah, he's pretty bad. He fell off that rookie year. I think what went wrong was probably the offensive line. But then again, he threw 4 interceptions against the Patriots. He's terrible. The defense really is what carried that Texans team. And need I say this again? Texans have the best defense. They have the best defense No one can go against that defense. It's going to be really hard next season with that elite cornerback room and that elite defensive line. Okay, next up, Daniel Jones. He is a great quarterback. I'll say he's pretty great. Then again, might put him in the good. He was injured for a good portion of time. So I say we'll do that. Definitely think he'll raise up the stakes and probably do better next time. And next up, we got Cam Ward. So, I'm gonna say he could have been better. Then again, he was probably on the worst team in football history that I've ever seen. Maybe this season, he didn't do bad, like in a way that it was his fault. The whole team around him just completely sucked. He doesn't even have a real wide receiver one. But then again, the Texans hired Robert Saleh. They got Brian DeBole, and they're trying to look for a wide receiver. I think that's what I've heard, a real wide receiver. So maybe he gets some good weapons. We got Mahomes. Okay, this season, uh, I have the urge to just put him in elite because, hear me out, he had a good season. However, the team around him, he had no offense and no defense. They couldn't do anything. Travis Kelce, he's obviously washed. His receivers just decided to become Kadarius Toney. They all just completely suck. Um, but then again, he was really the sole reason that offense was mid. He actually was the one trying. Then the defense was just completely lost. But then again, he's still a Hall of Fame lock. He's still one of the top quarterbacks in this era. So I gotta give credit to him. Then again, it's just one bad year. It's definitely not gonna repeat. Um, Next up, we got Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert here had a great year. He was an MVP candidate. Someone voted for him for MVP. He fell off like halfway through the season, and I still don't understand why he was an MVP candidate in the first place and who voted for him because I think Drake May could have won. This was a weird pick, and honestly, it is what it is. He still had a great season overall. I think because he got Mike McDaniel as his head coach, he could definitely go far. I think they're gonna fix up that offensive line because that was horrendous. That's why they lost to the Patriots in the first place. And yeah, we got Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is pretty good. Definitely a well beyond serviceable, pretty good quarterback. I think he can really try to get it done next year. However, that offense, they were looking in pain without him in that AFC Championship game. I see that next time, looking forward, they're probably going to try to keep him more healthy. He definitely had a pretty good season overall, and that defense also helped him a lot. So I'm not going to say he's elite or he's great, but he's still a pretty good quarterback. Then next up, we have Geno Smith. This is probably the worst trade I've seen for the Raiders and the best trade for the Seahawks because Geno Smith, worst quarterback in the league. I don't think anybody's signing him after his horrendous season leading the league in interceptions. Um, yeah. So with that, that concludes our quarterback rankings after the Super Bowl. In elite, we have Stafford, May, Mahomes. In the great category, we got Lamar, Caleb Williams, Dak, Baker, Sam Darnold, Drake May, Trevor, and Justin Herbert. Now in the good category, we got Josh Allen, Mac Jones, Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones, and Bo Nix. In the solid, I got Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. We got Jane Daniels, Bryce Young, Joe Flacco, and Aaron Rodgers. In the could be better, Russ, Pete Nix, and Cam Ward. In the bad category, I got CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray, and Spencer Rattler. And the straight up ass, we got Tua, JJ McCarthy, also known as Nine. We got Justin Fields and Geno Smith. So let me know in the comments what you would change and how you think about this list. I'd like to see what comments on what you guys think I should have done, and what you guys think would have been a better list. All right, I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.